In this episode, episode 12, we're going to discuss the difference between fuses, breakers or MCBs and RCDs. I'll also mention what it stands for. Now, back in episode 6 we discussed fuse sizes and why that's important both in a plug and on fuses, breakers and what have you back at the board. And I mentioned there's some additional protection, so we're going to discover the difference between the different types of protection here. So on the older type of boards, there might have been Bakelite or wood. It might even be really old boards where you've got the ceramic holders in, and on there the little white bit of paper looking stuff is actually asbestos. So if you've got one of those, be aware that those are asbestos. You might want to get that checked and get that removed. So those are the original type of fuses where it was on a ceramic holder that plugs in and you rewire that fuse. It's an open fuse, and when it flashed the asbestos would stop it doing too much damage. Later on, a similar type of fuse holder was available. These are on the brown kind of wooden Bakelite fuse boards that you'll still see in a lot of houses now. Generally Wilex is the manufacturer of them, and they're normally only 4 or 5 fuses in there. Now these ones are slightly safer because they go through a protective sleeve, so you put the fuse wire through the protective sleeve and screw each end, pop that back in. Hopefully you're putting the right size in there, but we did discuss that in video 6, which was about the fuse sizes. Now, after that, what started happening is, so fuses can be quite slow to blow. Basically, it's the heat of that diameter of the wire in there. So when it gets past a certain load, it'll overheat and burn out. Now, the time on them can vary slightly. They're not as accurate, and they're certainly the slowest at acting. So what came along after that was MCBs, which are miniature circuit breakers. So a circuit breaker, as the name suggests, is meant to cut out when there's an issue, usually over current, so it goes over the load, a bit like how the fuse would go when it's burnt out. But instead of burning out, it just trips a switch and you can reset it as long as the fault is cleared. It's miniature because they're small ones to go in a domestic board or even a commercial board. Those are quicker acting, and the benefit is that you can just switch it on and you're away again. You can also, in the older Wilex boards, get what is an adapter. It's still got the same base, but you can plug in a resettable one instead of the rewirable one, especially if you get sick of rewiring it all the time, which is a pain. Those aren't expensive either, 10 to 15 pounds and you'll get one. After that, additional protection that came in later is what you call RCD. Now, what RCD stands for, it may not give you any more clue at all, but it stands for Residual Current Device. And what residual current is when if you maybe remember your electromagnetic theory at school, so the current going out of a live conductor on any circuit, let's say a light circuit, and coming back in the neutral at the board, that should be exactly identical if you think about it, if all is working well, because nothing has been lost. And why would it be lost? It would be lost if the cable is damaged, it would be lost if there was a fault on an appliance, and it would be lost if it was going through someone in a live casing or something like that. So basically, going out needs to be equal to coming in. If it isn't, this is where the electromagnetic theory from school comes in, because around that is a coil. Now the more modern ones now are done a different way, but this principle is how it works. Now, current going out through live, back through neutral, completely cancels each other out, because one's going one direction, the other's going the opposite direction, so that zeroes itself out. Now, if that isn't the case and there's an imbalance on that residual current, That's where that comes from. Then what will happen is the coil that's around that in the RCD device will detect an electromagnetic field and instantly trip. Well, when I say instantly, it should be less than 30 milliseconds. Or, depends on the characteristics of the breaker, but it's really quick compared to a circuit breaker, and it's really quick compared to a fuse. So that's the 3 different types. Hope that was useful. I'll catch you in the next episode.